Welcome back, guys and girls. As you know, your coach Tom Brazier here from TB Community. Today we are going to be talking about deadlifts. I'm going to run you through four forms, my favorite types of deadlift. It's not the whole range of deadlifts. We're going to run through conventional deadlifts. We're going to run through sumo deadlifts, one of my favorite glute and full body compound exercises. We're also going to run through RDLs, Romanian Deadlifts, and my personal favorite, I call semi-stiff touchdown deadlifts. Okay, it's a very focused hamstring posterior chain exercise, as they all are, but this one's, you know what, just back it up, I'll explain through. Let's start off from number one, okay, conventional deadlifts. Now, if you haven't already seen the squat video, here's the link. Head over to the link for the squat video and you can see all my mobility that I do before any kind of squat or lower body exercise. We run through frog sits, crab step ups, all those kind of things. So I have done that provisionally now before running through this. Just remember, if you do any lower body exercises, make sure you get those mobilities done before you, as part of your warm up and mobility routine. Okay, we're going to run through conventional deadlift first. Now, conventional deadlift is probably the one you see most of all. Easy way to set up. Just remember, with any deadlift you do, if you're using a barbell, always try and get the bigger plates. Now, these aren't proper weightlifting plates, but they're big enough. Okay. The reason why you want to get proper weightlifting weights and not deal with like 5 kgs or smaller ones is because it really matters how far the bar is off the floor. If the bar is too low to the floor, for example, you're using small bumper weights or tiny little weights, you're going to be accentuating, you're going to be increasing that range that is just unnecessary. So you don't need to be getting down too far. Always use the big 20 kg or big Eleiko weights when you're deadlifting through there. So step up to the bar. I'll face Christian now so we can get a little bit of a form through there. So conventional deadlifts, come up to the bar. You never take your shins too far. Again, I'm using Metcon shoes, a little bit of a raise. They've probably got about ½ an inch. I personally prefer either doing them with this, either a pair of Converse, something with a flat base. You don't want to be lifting. Shoe choice is quite important when you're squatting or deadlifting. These, as you can see, have got a pretty flat base through there, a little bit of a heel raise. If you want to do it in bare feet, totally fine. If you want to do it in Converse, that's totally fine, but something with a nice, firm, flat base. That's for squats and deadlifts. Okay, let's come square out to the bar through here. Okay, now conventional deadlifts, we're not doing semi-stiff. We're going to go down to the bar, grip the bar just wide of your knees. We're going to sit down into the position. Now, my personal favorite is to engage before the lift. So I take a little bit of pressure on the bar, okay, keeping the chest up as much as possible, use the glutes to initiate the movement, and then lifting the bar straight up through there, okay? And on the down phase, I drop it over the knee and drop down into a semi kind of squat position. Come back up through, draw down over the knee, and squatting down into position, okay? We're not doing a semi-stiff, so we are bending the knee down into the squat position and initiating that drive, trying to keep a neutral spine, keeping the chest up, driving through the glutes, and finishing off with that posterior chain. Okay, that is the conventional deadlift. Now, let's move on. What is the sumo deadlift? Sumo deadlift is just a much wider stance. Again, still posterior dominant, as with every deadlift. Conventional, we get a little bit more quad dominance as well. But again, all deadlifts are mostly posterior chain, so glutes, hamstrings, and lower back. The biggest muscle, obviously your glutes, hamstrings, and lower back, and that is the synchronization that we want to be doing in deadlifts. You want to be hitting glutes first, hamstrings are secondary, and lower back is tertiary. Okay, that is how your posterior chain should activate. If you're not feeling glutes in deadlifts, you're either doing something wrong or they're not quite firing and they're not primed. Okay, so that's another thing we'll sit at a later date. So sumo deadlifts, again, come out to the bar and it's a nice wide stance through here as well. Toes turned out. Now obviously as a wide stance, you're gonna grip close to the bar, so get a little bit of balance. You don't have to grip it fist width through here. You can grip about shoulder width, but when you drop down, your knees are going to come just over the bar through here in position. You grip the bar in position, get a nice wide stance through there. My toes should be a little bit further out. In that position, drop, and then raising up to extension. And again, when you drop down, you come over the knees and then squat down to position. Keeping those knees out and those toes out, and drive up to that sumo. into position and drawing down. Through up, engage, dropping down over the knee and bringing the bar in. Through, control down, I got one more. Right through, in, and dropping down over the knee and squatting down in. Okay, and that is the sumo. Again, with a conventional and the sumo, you want to drop the bar, you want to bring the bar down and reset after each lift. Generally with a conventional and the sumo deadlift, you will be lifting, they're more for strength, so people try and hit their PBs, and you want to be trying to hit your PBs. Massive compound exercise. And what do we say about progress in the gym? If you're getting stronger in the gym each time, each week, each month, you know you're progressing on every form, whether that be fat loss, muscle gain. That is the epitome. Get stronger, focus on strength. Whew, I'm puffed. Okay, that is the sumo. Now we're going to run through. I'm trying to take a break, I swear to God. Now we're going to run through the RDL, Romanian Deadlift. Again, still posterior chain, but this one a little bit more focused. This one isn't really done for a maximum weight. Yes, obviously like every other exercise, you're trying to increase that weight each time, or at least each week, each month, to show you're progressing in the gym in terms of strength. But it's not a kind of unit or an exercise that we really focus on to maximize the amount you're lifting. It's more about control. So, unlike the other two deadlifts, conventional and sumo, this one we don't actually touch the bar down. It's a constant tension deadlift, okay? So I'm gonna bring the bar forward through there, because I want Christian to get a side angle of this, okay? So, Christian, do you reckon you can get a side angle of this, dude? Christian, side angle. Okay, it's quite important you see the side angle through here for Romanians. So, for Romanians, you set up the same way, okay? You're gonna come up to the bar to lift it initially. Feet about shoulder width, toes very slightly out, but not much. Now, grip the bar, just widen the hips, and lift it up like a normal conventional deadlift. Okay, but that's the last time you're gonna put it down. We're gonna go for about 8 reps here. Now with the RDL, you're gonna keep knees slightly bent, not too much. And when you're gonna bring the bar, you're gonna initiate the movement by sticking your ass out as much as you can. Bring the bar down to about halfway down your shins and keep that tension and lift up through. Dropping back down, halfway through the shins, and then lifting the bar back up through here. Okay, as you can see, you're keeping constant tension through the posterior chain, hamstrings and glutes, and really working to feel that form. Now I feel my glutes initiate here, hamstrings stretch through there, and then I drive them up in that position. And that is the RDL. Again, keeping the bar nice and close to your shins, very slight bend in the knee, not too much, and then driving up. One more rep. And through. Good. And that is the Romanian deadlift. Can be done with dumbbells. Again, it's more of a focused exercise. Yes, as I said before, you want to be increasing the weight each time, but again, this one's more form related. You can get away with slightly dodgy form when you're hitting those big loads, sumos and conventional. But when doing the RDL, because it's constant tension, because it's a lot of pressure through the lower back, if you don't do it right, you want to keep the rate moderate. I'd say around about 75 to 85% of your max that you normally do. Really focus on control. With the RDL, the tempo, 2 to 3 seconds on the eccentric, nice and slow movement down, and then a controlled draw up. So around about 5 seconds for the whole rep. And again, in terms of rep range, these RDLs, I look for around about the 8 to 15 mark in terms of rep range. Whereas conventional sumos, you know, people do them for 1 RM challenges, 2 to 6, they're really more focused, strength focused. But the last one, swear to God, it's so hot in here. The last one we're gonna do is my personal favorite, very similar to the RDL, the Romanian deadlift. It's kind of constant tension, but I find this with my previous back issues, I find a lot better. I find I need to control the movement and the tempo in my deadlifts to make sure that my lower back doesn't take over and I don't get that tenderness. Because when I don't know about you, but I've had an injury in the lower back in the past. When I do lower body, I have to be very careful about the movements I do, because if I build up tension through the lower back and it starts to get tension, starts to get tight, that will ruin a lower body session for me, because all I feel is tension through the lower back. So I sometimes wear a belt. It's totally fine to do. If you don't wear a belt, it's totally fine to do. I wouldn't suggest walking around like some numbnuts you see in the gym. wearing it every time when they're doing lateral raises or arms or stuff like that. Use it when you need to use it, when you're doing heavy loaded hip extension exercises. But other than that, there's no point using it. And no, it doesn't make your waist thinner. Okay, let's start with the last one. I call this semi-stiff touchdown deadlifts. So very similar to the RDL in position, but this one you do touch the bar down, but you only tap it down. And when you tap it down, you literally rest it, but you maintain tension in the posterior chain. So dissimilar to the conventional sumos, where for example in the sumos it could be a heavy lift up and almost dropping the weight down, resetting and then lifting up. You're not resetting in this one, you're just literally putting the bar down for a little bit, maintaining tension through the posterior chain and lifting again through. But again, emphasis on maintaining position through the posterior chain. Okay, step up, back in. Similar position, come down into a conventional deadlift to lift it up. In that position through there, so I'm going to keep my legs, my knees slightly, not completely straight, slightly bent, and I'm going to literally bring the bar all the way down, tap on the floor. Now I'm not letting go, I'm maintaining tension through my hamstrings and glutes, and I'm lifting up to extension. But if you think about it, there's just a little bit more range than an RDL. Slightly stiffer legs, touch down, reset, not completely though, and lift up through. Okay? Now I'm going to do five reps just straight off, and I'll show you how we do the form. So it's controlled eccentric, tap, and then a raise. Controlled eccentric, tap, and then a raise. Tap, and then a raise. Control eccentric, tap, and then a raise. I got one more. You guys can see. Hamstring stretch through there, lifting through the posterior chain of the glutes. And control. Bish. And that is the semi-stiff touchdown deadlift. It may have another name, but that's what I like to call it. As I said, constant tension. RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, and this one that I just did, semi-stiff leg touchdown deadlifts, a little bit lighter than you'd normally go with a heavier deadlift. Main focus is on control, technique, posterior chain activation, and the sumo and conventional deadlifts, those are the ones that you can see in the Olympics and not in the strongman competitions. Those are the ones where the guys and girls get heavy, and form obviously is important, but it's more about lifting that heavy ass load and getting it up and increasing strength through there. But guys, that's pretty much it. I'm pooped. I'm literally going to take a shower. Any more information, just tap on the link, make some comments below. If you've got any more comments about deadlifts or squats or any questions, please feel free to ask your coach. Other than that, I'll see you on the next episode. That's it for deadlifts. You've got 4 variations. Go home, give them a try, look at the technique, remember to mobilize. I'll see you on the next time.